Yeah. I was in the palace with Pharaoh. And I'd still be there if it wasn't for you. For me. Yes, for you. It was your fault. How was it my fault? You got in my way and I dropped the cup in front of Pharaoh. Then he blamed us both for that mistake.
Yeah, well, it would have been good if it would have dropped all over my bread that I made.
That bread was useless. He never liked it anyway.
It was useless when you spilled it on there.
I was right next to Pharaoh. Always by his side. But because of you, I'm in this prison and I got a slave running this prison now. Instead of us. He's preferred over both of us.
I could still be there. It's your fault.
Why are you so sensitive?
We both had dreams. There's nobody who can interpret them for us.
I wish those magicians from the temple were here to tell us what this means.
They would be able to tell us something.
Interpretations for dreams belong to God. Tell me your dream.
What are you talking about? This is what we've been reduced to? To have our dreams interpreted by a slave?
Not by I, but by God. Tell me your dream.
Well, in my dream there was a vine in front of me. And on that vine there were these 3 branches. And as it budded, it blossomed. And in its clusters there was these ripe grapes. And then all of a sudden I saw Pharaoh's cup in my hand. I took those grapes and squeezed them into Pharaoh's cup. And then I grabbed that cup and put it into Pharaoh's hand. Tell me, what do you think this means?
Come on, same boy. Can you do this one?
Somebody has to tell me.
God has given me the revelation. The 3 branches stand for 3 days. In 3 days you will be restored back into power at Pharaoh's side.
Yes. Yes.
Looks like it's come good for you, huh?
Yes.
Well, boy, perhaps you can interpret my dream and give me a favorable interpretation as you have him.
Tell me your dream.
Right? I had 3 baskets on the top of my head. They were all filled with bread. But the top one was filled with all sorts of baked goods for the Pharaoh. But all of a sudden, I had birds eating all these baked goods for the Pharaoh off the top of my head. What does this mean? Surely this means that I could feed all the land. I'd be above all the bakers.
God has given me the revelation. The 3 baskets also stand for 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh will have you hung.
What?
And birds will eat from your flesh.
What type of interpretation is this?
I'm sorry.
Joseph interprets their dreams. In Genesis 40, the very next chapter, it says, when Joseph came to them this morning, he saw that they were sad and they told him the dreams. And Joseph's answer to them was, do not interpretations belong to God? Tell me your dreams. Now, those of us who've been here for the last 4 weeks when we first started with Joseph, we have to remember that we started with him being a dreamer. Remember he had the dream where the wheat stalks of his brothers bowed to his wheat stalks, and then he had the dream where the stars would bow down to him, and his dad got mad at him, and he was going around telling everybody, what do these dreams mean? What do they mean? And he couldn't figure it out. All of a sudden now, the guy who couldn't interpret his own dreams is willing to interpret dreams for these 2 very important men. In the middle of his struggle, in the middle of his difficulty, in the middle of his situation, he stepped out on a limb and he looked for the divine appointment God had for him. And he started to look for God to work in his life in a supernatural way. He took a chance when he said to these 2 very important men, tell me your dreams. They belong to God. A guy who had never interpreted a dream ever. A guy who couldn't even interpret a dream that was his brightest day to his family. Is now stepping out of faith and expecting God to show up in his situation. And he tells them this dream. And I interrupted the scene, but the Bible says as he leaves the room, he looks back at that cupbearer because the baker's going to be killed. And he tells the cupbearer, don't forget about me when you end up back with Pharaoh. don't forget about me. That means to tell me that Joseph was planning his way out. Joseph was saying, I'm going to get out of this mess. I'm not going to be here. Why? Because the God who got me to this place didn't bring me here to die. He's going to get me out of this. In the middle of his trial, he starts to look for the supernatural to break through. He just doesn't look for it. He expects it. How does a guy go from a pit to slavery to a palace to a prison? Have the faith to expect that God will do anything supernatural in his life. The very fact that these two prisoners are there is already God working in his life. When you're down and out, you never know who you're going to be. When you find yourself in the ER, you never know who's there. When you go to the doctor, you'll never know who's there. My sister-in-law, yesterday we had lunch with Andy's brother and his wife. She was telling Andy that my regular doctor was out, so there was another doctor there. When I went to see that doctor, she told me this problem that I had. She's lost like 50 pounds, and she says, I'm so glad I met that doctor. Like just changing her diet. She said it was a God appointment that my doctor was not there and that other doctor was there. She could have showed up to that hospital room, to that clinic, just upset, angry that they're sick all over again, and never know who you might run into, what divine appointment you have when you get there. Now, I'm not telling you you need to go to prison to have divine appointments. You don't have to have struggles for divine appointments. But it's time that us, as the people of God, begin to look for and expect God to do the supernatural in our lives. The supernatural, the out of the ordinary, the miraculous. We need to believe that God will step in. We will get a better job. We will have a nicer house. Our kids will be obedient. Our spouse will get saved. God can do the supernatural. It could be that his faith is so strong because he has been blessed to not die in a pit. It could be because he felt that God was looking out for him as a slave, being purchased by the right person at the right time. It could be that these were the things that made her have faith. Maybe he said, you know what? I was in a hole. God got me out of there. That's why I have faith. I have faith because, strong faith because when I was purchased into slavery, I was purchased by the right man. It could be that he sees God's favor on him being put in charge of the prison as a blessing in his life. It could be that he sees these two men as divine appointments and opportunity from God. Or it could be that he has reached a point where he feels that only God and the supernatural can come and deliver him. Where are you in your prison? Where are you in your situation? Are you still questioning God? Or are you thanking him that you haven't broke yet? Where are you in your captivity? Are you blaming God or seeing his favor on your life in the middle of this? Where are you in your problem? Have you reached the point where you need the supernatural to take place? There are people in this room that it had not been for a miraculous work of God, they would not be here today. There are people in this room that have been healed of cancer. Don't tell me I don't serve a good God. There are people in this room that got healed of cancer. Healed of cancer. Healed them. There are people here who had a broken relationship in their life and they thought it's over. They thought this person that I love has hurt me so. But because of the supernatural work of God, they're still here today standing as strong as ever before. Where are you? Where are you? Are you blaming God? Are you questioning God? Are you letting God to heal your heart and your spirit? I'm asking you to close your eyes. Every eye is closed, every head is bowed.